Good morning, 10:08 a.m., 7/9/2017. I just had this open on my desktop. I got to looking at it. Okay. Day one, according to the story, when she says 2 or 3 times a day, begin right there. Okay. Here's 1 and 2 of the 2 to 3 times a day. Alright? And then somewhere down here, if I actually felt like doing the math, since she was there on a trial basis only, before the divorce decree modification went through in the court, and she was to return to the commune to discuss it with her mother and whoever else. Since it was commune, I'm figuring, well, it takes a village, right? It takes a freaking village. So how many ever times up until the point where she went back to do that discussion, where they would decide to either go through with the plan modification to make her dad the primary caregiver and make her permanent residence at our house. Okay, follow so far? All these supposed rapes went unreported from day one, as I'd said, to whatever day further into that year, 1993, when that trial period came to an end and she returned to discuss. Looking at umpteen her telling. Meanwhile, John and I regularly leaving the house when her brother was still there, leaving them both there. Sometimes they had a list of stuff to do, other times not. At first, I don't believe they did. They were just left there to their own devices. Whether one of them suggested they take a stroll around the neighborhood, or while they're gone, let's watch TV. You know, we had the big C-band dish. I had excess stuff. Dare I say, easily 500 channels. Okay? In every single time zone. In a C-band. If you miss your soap operas in one time zone, we just pick it up in another time zone. Okay? I guess this page froze. There it goes. Alright, so I'm not real certain right now. Her mother didn't really like to do the driving. Okay? Because part of the thing was, God can't get in cars. Well, that is your belief, okay? A lot of people would argue that fiercely. Oh yes, but God's in the car, okay? God's in the truck, God's in the plane, God's on the train, on the boat. But not in my stepdaughter's mom's truck. Nope. God can't go there, so she won't drive. I personally think it was just an attempt at an excuse to get out of it. Okay, but whatever. all these times, I had no crazy rapist to report from day one, okay, to this immediate benchmark that we've begun talking about this morning, to when the divorce decree modification was supposed to occur in the Iowa court. Okay? Whether we took her back, and if John went to Iowa, I went. We even had Bradley with us one time because we went up and stayed with his folks while he did some research up there on that commune, visited with some locals and tried to find some things out before he just went in, guns blazing or something, did something stupid like stumble into crazy people trap. And at that point in time, when we had our son with us, there had been a drought up there. Of course, back then there were several droughts through those years in the 90s. And so, like the rest stops along the way, there was no facilities to use. So, of course, my son, being little, needs to go potty. So we gave him an empty pop bottle to go in, which he talked about for weeks afterwards, I peed in a pop bottle. I peed in a pop bottle. Okay, well, back to this modification. It got handled, went right through. Because this isn't what I'm saying, this isn't my speech bubble, this is hers. Okay? I'm the artistic mind behind it right now. No crazy rapist to report. All these times. How many ever times between day one and that day in the Iowa court? So of course it went through. Do you think if she had reported all these, the family court there would have said, oh well, no biggie. You got it this far, you're going to go there and live. And he's going to be your permanent primary caregiver. Damn the torpedoes, right? Okay. So, too, we used to go to this little diner that later turned into this place called 79-cent Tacos on Main Street. I loved the place. It was after 95, though, that it was that. I would go in, and they had wonderful sweet tea, and I'd get like 3 tacos, and they were authentic. They weren't American made or made by American tacos. They were Mexican people made by Mexican people. Okay? Spit it out there, right? Okay. It was a nice little place with the lace on the tables, and it was just clean and just nice. It wasn't large at all. It was like maybe max 15 tables or booze up and down 2 sides, and then the tables in the middle. So just kind of small, but it would get super busy. But before that, there was this other little restaurant that John and I would go and have our coffee just because it was rather close to home, and sometimes we just wanted to go have a little getaway, mini thing. Go drink the coffee. Couple bucks, hey, and a tip, right? Back then. And the guy that ran it, the manager, I guess because we talked about the kids, he said, well, why don't you ask that your son, telling it to John, that I need some help here. I need an assistant. I need a cook's assistant. So on the way home, we kind of tossed that idea back and forth and brought it up to him. And wow, he perked up, He was like, oh yeah. Opportunity to get out of the house, talk to other people, make a little money. And it's not right there in the main yard mowing or painting lattice or all these other crazy nitwitty things that we would come up with to do. So, okay, he'd like to buy the sci-fi books. He was sci-fi book nuts for a while. So, best I remember, usually we would drive him. And if I went, I'm likely to say, well, we're here, why don't we just have some coffee? Or if he's only going to be a couple hours, sit there and drink coffee and shoot the bull with this waitress we knew there. Because he might have just got called in to catch up on dishes, Maybe an hour and a half, I don't know. Drink the coffee, shoot the bull. It was not hardly busy. There was hardly ever anyone in there that I remember other than ourselves. Right? So, I don't know where the rest of these all went. I had 2,100 of them, but it would take forever. Maybe it just didn't want to load. Okay, so while we were at that little cafe and our brother was being the cook assistant for whatever task that it was, there she is at the home by herself. Okay? We always made sure to tell her because she seemed somewhat like a little ding-a-ling. You know how kids are. Lock this door as soon as we're gone. We won't be long. Don't let anyone in. Call my mother if you need anything. She's 5 minutes away. That kind of thing, right? It's always, okay. We take off. Alright. No need to make any calls. No things to report. No crimes to report. No nothing to report. While we're gone. And the cops being like 5 minutes away, if she had called the cops, right, they would have been over there lickety-split, just like when I called them about her. Lickety-split. Not with lights flashing and all this, or sirens or anything. Quickly, because they're close. Right? They were no stranger in that neighborhood. And before all this, the only calls I made to them were calls about critters. And it wasn't just that house. You see? So I'm losing time again here quickly. Might as well prep for the next one, right? Thanks for watching. We're at Critters.